Oh wow, that was fast. Hello. Hey cosplaying curls, how are you? Hello JK. Usually it takes a minute when I hit go live, but this time it popped right up. I'll take that as a good thing. Ooh, hold on. Let me do what I'm supposed to do. Let's see. And there we go. Perfect. Hey Khaleesi, how are you? We are gonna have a very relaxing Friday live stream, and we're going to talk about this really epic book about the costumes of Game of Thrones that were created by Michele Clapton. I'm really good. Thank you for asking. I have it there so people know what we're talking about, but I have my tried and true that's not in great shape here. So yes, I do have two. That's what I like to do with books that I love. I like to have two. I like to have one that stays nice and one that I don't feel bad about highlighting or doing whatever I need to do too. So it's just my thing. So, Khaleesi, obviously you would like Daenerys outfits. Is there another character that you would like to talk about? Because that's what I wanted to ask everybody. This is a topic I really love. Hold on. And, all right, there we go. I was like, don't get rid of my chat. And I just wanted to see if anybody had any specifics. Oh, very nice. Yes. I love that. We'll start off with that, actually. Hey, Cece. How are you? But yeah, so this is the same book. I'm just going to leave it there so people have a clue what we're talking about. But yes, we can definitely do that first. I love that. All right, now don't pin and unpin. There we go. There. And then they can see it down there. Hello, Blackbird. Hello, Boo. How are you? I'll just give everybody a couple minutes to come in. If anybody has a favorite character, or you have a character and you love the costumes they wore in Game of Thrones, let me know, because we're going over the costume book. It's very big and heavy, but it's totally worth it. It's amazing. Actually, it's on TikTok Shop for $38. I paid more than that. It's huge, like you could see. Like, it's very heavy. It's hard for me to pick up. Welcome everybody. We're gonna talk about costumes. It's very fun. There's a lot of detail in this book that I didn't appreciate the costumes enough until I read this book, and then I had the incredible experience of being the only creator at the Game of Thrones auction by Heritage, and they brought in 4 of Daenerys' outfits for me to view privately and photograph and film. And I will tell you, I had an even higher level of appreciation after that. God, I love Heritage for that. It was absolutely amazing. It was like one of the best experiences of my life. It was surreal. And I thank you for the follow. I do not use that word a lot, but it actually was. You know? I thought you were. Hold on. Here we go. There you go. You should be good. So, question. We're going to be talking about the costumes of Game of Thrones. I've already had Khaleesi mention that she would like to talk about Cersei's outfits. If anyone has a character you would like to talk about first, please let me know, because that's what I want to do. Thank you for the follow. But this book that I've pinned down here is absolutely amazing. Thank you. And it's a really good price. I paid more than $38 for mine. So it is actually on sale. But the detail that went into some of the smallest things was completely baffling to me. And I just have a deeper level of appreciation for Michele Clapton that did the costumes for Game of Thrones and follows me on social media. Sorry, I had to say it at least once. I freaked out when she followed me. I have no shame whatsoever on that. So, hello. Hi. So, Khaleesi would like to talk about Cersei's costumes. Is that okay with everybody? Anybody have a second? Lord Jesus. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Doesn't take very long for the disgusting comments to start coming through. God forbid someone be live and attractive and female. Anyway, I can only imagine. God, never mind. I can only imagine what the actual actors have to go through. It was. And I told my mom about that. It's just people that don't get out much. There's a dragon right there. All right. So, we're going to talk about Cersei's costumes, which I'm very excited about. Ooh, look at me. Turned right to her. All right. So, just in case you missed it, we're talking about the costumes of Game of Thrones from the costume book. The official one, it's pinned right down here. And we're going to talk about Cersei. Now, a lot of people forget. Everybody seems to think about Cersei in two outfits. Red, bell sleeves, with metal, like armor. And then later, Cersei, when she's in the silver and black with the short hair, a lot of people actually forget that she has this beautiful dress in this pale blue right here. It's one of my favorites. Absolutely one of my favorites. It's so beautiful and incredibly detailed. And she wears it very well. But that's where the book starts off. All right. So I'm going to read a bit too, because it's very interesting. Thank you. So when Game of Thrones begins, Cersei Lannister is queen, married off by her father Tywin to the monarch Robert Baratheon. Cersei longs to be able to use her intellect and political acumen, but instead finds herself essentially powerless, yoked to a man she holds in great contempt. So, and this is written by Michele Clapton, who designed the costumes. Every character you love is in this book. It's pinned below. So at the beginning of Cersei's story, I used soft fabrics and softer colors for her costumes. Her early gowns, such as the one she wears to accompany Robert to Winterfell in the first episode, were all made from paper silk, but they were lined with a metallic fabric. I like the idea that the paper silk is so feminine and insubstantial, but underneath, Cersei is armored. Is that not amazing? Because later on, we see her wear more armor, but in the beginning, she's still armored. It's just inside. To the outside world, she appears to be soft and very traditionally feminine, with long, flowing blonde hair. In reality, she's a sleeping lioness who is preparing for a coming battle. I also designed a pale green dress embroidered with birds, and that's this. It looks pale blue, but I guess it's more like a blue-green. I trust Michele to know color better than I do. Okay, so I loved the idea that she sees herself as a caged bird. The gown was designed to be the same color as the wallpaper in her bedchamber at the Red Keep in King's Landing. It's almost as though she's simply part of the furnishings of the room. Both dresses were made in a kimono style so they could be easily removed. I wanted it to feel as though Cersei's body was always accessible to all the men in her life. In the first 2 seasons, only in time, as her story continued, did she become more armored and closed off. Now, tell me how incredible that is. It is absolutely astounding to me that much thought went into a dress. And you have to realize this is season 1. This is when they are creating costumes for this series. And at that point, they did not know if it was going to take off. Like, you've got to have a huge appreciation for a costume designer going into that much detail and understanding the character that well when you don't know. They had no idea it was going to be a cultural phenomenon. Not a clue. So that's what I'm talking about. Like, you think it's just a beautiful dress? No, it's way more than that. We have Cersei Lannister in a color that's the color of the wallpaper of her room. She has a bird on the back of it, and then there's birds on the front and on the sleeves because she's a caged bird. She is not this, she's the sleeping lioness. And then later on, she becomes the lioness. Now tell me that is not absolutely fantastic for a wonderful character. Everybody loves Cersei. If you don't love Cersei, I don't know what's going on. So, again, we're going over the costumes. This is the official book for all 8 seasons of Game of Thrones. It's right here, but I have the same book right here. So that is how we first see Cersei as the caged bird. Now, what people usually remember is this outfit. It's very iconic. It's in the same style. It's the kimono style, but it is Lannister red. And this is the one that has the... a lot of the accessories are actually, you can mix and match. Okay, so when I first started cosplaying Daenerys, I just dug into this book obsessively because I wanted to learn every outfit. And thank you. And by going through that, I learned that she has mix and match pieces. I had no idea because, like, what I have on right now is one of the outfits in season 3. Okay, so with Daenerys's outfits, a lot of times you can take the skirt and put it with another top and it looks completely different. Like, she has this white skirt is actually also used, I'll show you in a minute, on the blue dress she wears that has the hole, the keyhole. It's really beautiful. Same skirt used. So with Cersei, it's done with accessories and her armor and belt. So this classic Cersei outfit is very interesting because you have this, but you also have this. I have this outfit. I do cosplay Cersei every once in a while. She's a lot of fun. But you see how different it looks just by changing that? And so you get 2 different looks. So now, and again, we're going over the costumes of Game of Thrones. This is a very big, heavy book that is on TikTok Shop for $38. I paid more than that. Hell, it might even say how much I paid. Oh yeah, I paid $75. So yeah, it says it in the front. That's $99.99 if you're in Canada. Love and hate Cersei, exactly. Okay, so first costume, caged bird, right? Which is so interesting that she calls Sansa Little Dove. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, just think about that. She's dressed as a caged bird in the beginning. And she calls Sansa Little Dove. Why? Because young Sansa reminds Cersei of how she used to be. Naive. Do you see? Do you see? It's why it's the best show ever made. All right. So, after Robert dies in an apparent hunting accident, Cersei later claims credit for his death. She quickly sheds her Baratheon identity, leaving behind the pastels and eventually reverting to the stronger red and gold colors of House Lannister. The Lannister sigil also becomes a prominent feature in her costumes from this point on. So she is done with Robert. She is done with anything stag at all. I can only imagine. Like, after Robert's gone, Cersei going in to where all of her outfits are kept and telling all of her handmaids, just get rid of it. All of it. Any of it. And make me red. Now. Like, she hated him. She hated him so much. Hello. I love that so much. So, Michele Clapton, who follows me on social media, I used red paper silk for her dresses, and on some of the side panels, we embroidered a large lion in gold. She also wears a large statement necklace featuring the lion sigil in gold. She wants to project the power she wields as Queen Regent. The title she's given as mother of the newly crowned King Joffrey. So, not only is she in red and gold, but she wants to have a lion very prominently featured right here. And it makes sense. It makes complete sense. She's Queen Regent, so you're not going to have her wearing a crown. But she's going to have plenty of gold on, just so you know. Oh, by the way, I'm very important. And by the way, don't call me Cersei Baratheon ever, or you'll disappear. The Black Cells. And let's see. Oh, this is absolutely astounding. Like, okay, this is another thing about Michele that I noticed when I got to view Daenerys' actual outfits in person. I couldn't believe it. I was looking at, it's the outfit she has on. It's suede. When Missandei unfortunately passes. You never see it, but the interior of that outfit, it has this beautiful red faux fur, and it's shaved to look like dragon scale, and like it's never seen on screen. Like, that's the kind of detail that is put into these costumes that is really, really interesting to me. Because if you think about it, the more effort that's put into the costume, you know that has to have an effect on the actor. Like, imagine you're playing this iconic role and you go to put on your costume and it's beautiful in the front, but then it's like some of those dresses or outfits you see, the back is just plain. So it's like, well, I better never turn my back or people are gonna wonder. Okay, that doesn't happen in Game of Thrones at all, because let me show you this. So even in this outfit, if you see her belt down there, there's lions on the back. So, like, I honestly feel like it's so detailed that it probably, to me, I would think it would help the actor get into character. Because this is what a Queen Regent would wear. Look how beautiful. Isn't that just, like, magnificent? So impressive. Exactly what you'd expect from Cersei Lannister, not Baratheon. There's a reason no one ever calls her that. So, again, if you're just coming in, hello, I'm the Southern Mother of Dragons. We are talking about the costumes from Game of Thrones. It's this book. Yes, I have two. I have one that I keep pristine and one that it's not in horrible condition, but it's been looked at many times. So it's pinned down here for $38. Originally $75. Okay, so we have some more close-ups of her armor. And, oh, iconic. This is actually the outfit, the scene with Littlefinger. Power is power. So, yeah, that's why a lot of people remember Cersei in red. Right. Okay, so this is another outfit. It's pretty iconic, actually. So after the Purple Wedding, after Joffrey has passed, Cersei then wears black and gold because she's in mourning. So Joffrey is the first of Cersei's children to die. He's poisoned at his own wedding ceremony, sending Cersei into a torrent of rage and grief. At this point, she begins to introduce black into her wardrobe, which in time will become her signature color. To mourn her eldest son, Cersei wears a paper silk kimono-style gown embellished with tiny metal rings stitched onto the shoulders. I loved the contrast of this delicate fabric adorned with strong gold detailing. It captures Cersei's state of mind. Her heart is broken, but she is unbowed. Rather, she's resolved to seek revenge. She also adopts a ghastly version of the Lannister lion. Traditionally, the sigil sees the animal leaping on two legs, head thrown back to let out a loud roar. Cersei's lion is half skeletal. It's a symbol of death and decay. How many people knew that? Literally no one. Literally no one. Y'all, you're not going to believe this. You're going to be like, are you serious? And you're going to want to go back and look. Yes. It is embroidered into her mourning dress. It's half alive and half skeletal. Yes, Khaleesi. Isn't that incredible? I mean, that's what I'm talking about, guys. Where the hell else are you going to see this? You're not. I know. Isn't that wild? Y'all, there's a reason I have 2 copies of this book. Like, this is insane to me. It's such a small detail, and you usually see her from the front, and this is on the side. I know, see? It's absolutely incredible. What is going on in the mind of the characters is seen in their clothing. It's so cool. And I mean, like, you can look at this and it's like, this is what was done to me. Do you know what this reminds me of, actually? When, when JFK was shot, Jackie, she would not take off the pink Chanel style suit that had his all over it. They kept asking her to change, and she said, no, I want them to see what they did. That's what this is. It's the same sentiment. Exactly the same. It's, yes, I'm a lion, but I want them to see what they did to my son. That's what this is. And I just think that that is absolutely magnificent. I know, right? Thank you, Jessica. I appreciate that very much. Right. Absolutely beautiful. God, we love you, Lena. She's amazing. Okay. So after that, we have her walk of shame, and there is no costume associated with that. You like that? A little humor? By the way, just in case you didn't know, Lena's a very smart lady, and she had a no nudity clause. So that is a body double. Yep. Don't blame her one bit. Not a bit. She's like, nope. So anybody that gets really excited, no, that's a body double. I do too. Yeah, Lucifer. I really do. All right, so blinded by her desire to eliminate Marjorie, Cersei creates an alliance with a conservative religious sect known as the Sparrows. So they are determined to strip her of all vanity, shear off her hair, dress her in a simple shift made from a harsh and grating fabric that looks something like burlap. I wanted that costume to appear handmade and incredibly simple. We used a natural colored linen, but we dyed the fabric to bring out subtle shades in the material and added stitching in various places to give it more texture. At this point in her story, Cersei has lost all of her ornamentation, all of her power. So she does her walk of shame, and then she makes it to the Red Keep, and so she gains back some of that power, some of it. As she begins to regain her position only by submitting to the Sparrow's demands and the march naked through the streets, after enduring this walk of shame, she arrives at the Red Keep and is immediately wrapped in a huge velvet brocade robe. There was no question in my mind that the fabric had to be opulent and red, the dominant color of House Lannister. Cersei's confession is only a means for her to escape from the Order and return to the Red Keep. She has undergone no spiritual transformation, which we knew. In fact, she's even fiercer and deadlier than she was before, determined to exact revenge on her enemies. Afterward, Cersei retains a cropped hairstyle, an indication that she's reinventing herself as someone uninterested in appealing to conventional male standards of beauty. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I kind of had a problem with Cersei keeping her hair short because I was thinking of strictly book Cersei, who's even more vain, if you can imagine. Book Cersei's not as she's not as smart as show Cersei. They're different. Similar, but different. And I always thought that she would have a problem with her hair being that short because, you know, her hair is like a sign of beauty and she wouldn't want people to be reminded of her walk of shame. That explains why. It is literally because she is reinventing herself as someone uninterested in appealing to the conventional male standards of beauty. Cersei is saying, no, I don't want it. I don't want it. So I thought that was really interesting. Thank you. Okay. So after that is when we get, thank you, we get into, it's very, when she starts wearing the black and it has the metal look and she has like metal on her shoulders and the chains and stuff, it's a bit shocking because we're so used to seeing her in red, which I get that's the whole point. So Cersei starts to dress solely in black and cover her body completely, wearing long sleeves and high collars. This is a common trend among all the women who become powerless in Westeros. Isn't that interesting? That's literally why she now has the high collar and the long sleeves. No more soft fabric, no more V-neck, nothing. As their stories progress, they tend toward darker colors and more conservative attire. The same goes for Missandei. The same goes for Daenerys. They both go to dark and more covered. After Joffrey's death, she loses her father and both Myrcella and Tommen. Her last surviving son had assumed the throne and married Marjorie. But when Cersei stages an explosion that incinerates the Sparrow and the Tyrells, including Marjorie, Tommen offs himself. We know that. With no male heirs left in the line of succession, Cersei is crowned queen. Hello, everyone. I'm the Southern Mother Dragons. We are talking about the costumes in Game of Thrones. This is the official costume book by Michele Clapton. It is linked below. It is pinned for $38. I paid $75, and it's fine. The coronation gown was made from black leather and silk brocade with military style that it projects strength. It's not red and gold because it was death that led her to the throne. I myself have actually wondered why she didn't continue to wear red because, you know, House Lannister power, wealth. It is because death led her to this throne. This was not a celebratory occasion, but a solemn one, and black was the only possible color for the costume. This gown is neither masculine nor feminine. It's cold and emotionless. It also works well with her cropped hair. I wanted her silver and gold crown to be an abstract recreation of the house sigil. So I designed a piece that simplified the Lannister lion sigil to just a few elegant strokes. The gown was designed to channel the style of Cersei's father, Tywin, which that's incredibly interesting. They always had a difficult relationship. I think Cersei admired Tywin and probably loved him, but she also despised him. He refused to see that she is intelligent and capable. He dismissed her as his true heir simply because she's a woman. In choosing to wear something linked to him, she is simultaneously honoring him and mocking him at the moment when she achieves the highest station possible in the Seven Kingdoms. Tell me a more complicated father-daughter relationship. Like, geez. So she wants to project Tywin and at the same time mock him. Like, well, you never sat the throne. I am. Absolutely astounding. So, this is the coronation gown. So, very closed off. You don't see a lot. And it does. I mean, if once you know it's supposed to remind you of Ty when you see it. Isn't that cool? It's so fascinating to me. Absolutely awesome. Yes, she did. She did. She grew to that for a reason. And I just, every time I read this, like, that's why I wanted to go over this and show you guys this book. It's one of my absolute favorites. And there's so much in it. Honestly, this could end up being a series because there's so much. Like, when I tell you, other than obviously the books, like, it's very hard for me to pick my favorite coffee table book, as you would call it, because it's a toss-up. I love Rise of the Dragon. I love The World of Ice and Fire very much. The photography book, which we need to go over one day, is amazing. But God, I love this costume book so much. And you get concept work. Okay, now, there's concept work for her crown, and they didn't end up going with this. In a way, I kind of wish they did. Pardon. All right, there's the concept art of the crown. It's like screaming lions. I kind of wish they'd done that. You know what I mean? But I mean, like, just because it's like, it's pretty eerie. I know. Sorry. Yeah. I've been sneezing and coughing all day because there's pollen everywhere outside. It's wonderful. I love it. Actually, I despise it. But I love this. Jeez. Yeah, I wish they would have done this. This is creepy as hell. Because look at that. Oh, God. But I love the fact that we get it in the costume book. You know, at least we could see this. That makes me want to make that crown now. I'll just add it to the list of 10,000 things I want to do. Okay, okay. After she takes the throne, Cersei's gowns tend to have the same almost genderless silhouette. She's not necessarily denying her femininity. She's proud to be a woman on the throne. It's just that she no longer needs to use her sexuality to advance in society. Isn't that interesting? She also wears a chain across her chest to signal that she is physically and emotionally closed off. When the Lannister lion does appear on her clothing, it's the Death Lion. Never the traditional house sigil. So thank you. She no longer is showing the house sigil. She is sticking with the scary Death Lion. She cuts an intimidating figure, perhaps never more so than when she first meets her rival for the throne, Daenerys Targaryen. We've been waiting for some time. My apologies. How neat is that? And say what you will about whatever season, that moment is so well done. All of it. Drogon, the dragon pit, and finally, we finally have them meet. And it said earlier, I'm sure people have seen this, like a lot of people bring this up, that when Daenerys is getting married, the Dothraki aren't known to be on time. And then when Daenerys arrives at the dragon pit, she's the last one there. My apologies. It's just a little thing, a little nod, a little bit of happiness, okay? I know how I feel about season 8. All right. Daenerys comes to King's Landing on a mission to secure Cersei's aid in the fight against the undead forces of the sinister Night King, who is hell-bent on eradicating the world of the living. Cersei is threatened by Daenerys, the Dragon Queen who believes she has a legitimate claim to the Iron Throne and has spent years amassing armies to take it by force. For their encounter, I designed a gown for Cersei that looks like an exoskeleton to indicate what a cold-blooded character she has become. I wanted her to seem like an insect. Now that is what my best friend, Jessica, would call diabolical. By the way, hello, I'm the Southern Mother of Dragons. We are looking at the official costume book for Game of Thrones, which is not just pretty pictures. It's a lot of information. It's down here, right? So, okay. The base of the costume is a long sleeve metallic dress. I chose the fabric because it was reminiscent of chainmail. Over that, Cersei wears a sleeveless coat made from stiff black millinery felt that has that prominent shoulder. I selected that material because it could be molded to hold its shape. I wanted the shoulders to be rounded in the same way that the shoulder plates of Jaime Lannister's armor are rounded. This is what I'm talking about when I get really excited. I'm like, you're not going to believe all the little things. That her shoulders are the same shape as Jaime's armor, which means she is threatened by Daenerys, but she still has thoughts of Jaime. And it's all told in the costume. Okay. We bonded a thin layer of fine patent leather fabric to the felt inside and the back of the coat, then slashed through the material and twisted it and stitched it in place so that the shiny patent leather would show through. When she wore the coat over the metal dress, we realized it created a strange optical illusion. If you look at the detailing on the back too long, it seems as though you are peering directly into Cersei through her rib cage and seeing only blackness there. And a lot of people actually mentioned that and thought that that was on purpose, which is something they just realized and were like, hell yes. So, in case you forgot, it's this. This is what Cersei wears when she meets Daenerys. Trying to be as threatening as possible. And there you see the rounded shoulders. All right. Okay. This is the part that's eerie as hell. Look at the back. It looks like you're looking at her rib cage and nothing is there but black. Isn't that cool? I'm pretty sure this costume is actually in Ireland. I'm pretty sure this costume is with the studio tour in Ireland. Yeah. So, Isn't that epic? A lot of people wondered about that and thought it looked reptilian, and were wondering like if that was an intimidation tactic for Daenerys. In reality, it's just meant to be creepy. I remember people discussing that outfit. Guys, if you were there, you were there, and you know. Game of Thrones, cultural phenomenon. People discussed every tiny thing about the show, including the costumes and the jewelry. It was a lot of fun. It was. So the after that, she gets a little bit more ornate. This outfit, I believe, is when she's speaking to Euron, which is, God, that's awkward. I just have to say that. Ugh. Okay, so in the series' final season, we see Cersei start to emerge from the bleakness of her black wardrobe. She's pregnant, so she feels hope once more. Her principal costume in the final episodes is a long ombre gown that fades from vibrant red to black. The color of her house becomes dominant. The dress laces at the back. It was decorated with dozens of studs around her midsection to act as armor, protecting her unborn child. She also wears the traditional Lannister lion pendant on a very long chain that rests against her belly as a symbol of protection. So this outfit is specifically about her being pregnant. Designing costumes for Cersei was a joy. She's such a compelling character. A woman who begins the series as a prisoner of circumstance, who achieves her goals only at a profound personal cost. Cersei is a villain, a victim, and a survivor who becomes consumed by bitterness and resentment, and ultimately suffers a bleak fate, crushed to death alongside Jaime in the cellars of the Red Keep. This is her final glorious costume. You see the studs here at the belly, and then you see the chain right there to protect. Isn't that great? Look at that. By the way, hello. I'm the Southern Mother of Dragons. We're going over the costumes in Game of Thrones. We're talking about Cersei. This is the book, the official book by Michele Clapton. It's also pinned down here for about half the price that I paid for it. I'm not mad. Now, I like to show this because you can really see the red ombre. Do you see that? The red fades into black. It's like, okay, I'm pregnant. I have some hope, and I'm bringing the Lannister back. Right? Absolutely gorgeous. I believe, because if you go to the studio tour in Ireland, in Belfast, they actually have dead Cersei and Jaime, because obviously there's like a fake body made. They look so real. They have a lot from season 8. So you can see Cersei's later costumes, Cersei, and also the map that she had painted on the floor, it's there too. So just in case you wanted to know. All right. So does anybody have if nobody has a specific character, I'm probably going to go on to Missandei. But if you have a character you want me to read about, please tell me. Feel free. Bear down. Seriously. It's a serious one. If you want me to look up Hodor, I'll look up Hodor. But I have a feeling everyone else would probably like me to go on to at least Missandei. You know what? Hold on. I got you. You want to know? All right. Hodor. 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 You're welcome. Hold the door. All right. Hey, look. I have a sense of humor. All right. Hodor. Uh-huh. All right. So you want Yara? All right. Let's find Yara. Most people know. There we go. Most people know. I ship Yara and Daenerys all the time. Get it? Ship. All right. Yara Greyjoy. Theon's sister Yara is a natural-born warrior who embraces every aspect of the Greyjoy way of life. She is determined to follow in her father's footsteps and rule over the Iron Islands from the Salt Throne on Pike. She grew up entirely apart from Theon. They are essentially strangers when they meet as adults. If you know, you know. But nevertheless, the love she feels for him is profound. Even when Theon seems completely lost to her, Yara goes to great lengths to save him, acting out of honor, duty, and compassion. Whenever she appears on screen, Yara is dressed in some version of the primary costume that I designed for her. As a true Greyjoy, her wardrobe would have changed little, so her clothing always remained consistent. The waxed fabric of her doublet is the color of stone and features the standard Iron Islands lacing. She wears lived-in leather trousers that were broken down and aged to give the impression that she rarely takes them off. She has very high boots that stop above her knee. I wanted her to have swagger, and giving her these high leather boots changed her gait in a way that says a great deal about the character. She walks with an attitude and is cool and confident. The boots were also suitably practical for an experienced captain who often finds herself at the center of armed conflict. Yara's costumes are quite androgynous. She dresses in a similar fashion to the men of Pike, which felt like a logical choice for someone who commands a fleet of men. Ironborn sailors wouldn't follow a woman who appeared overly feminine, even one as intelligent and fierce as Yara. She would always have to project strength, because weakness to her people is the worst possible thing. Her strength is really unassailable. You can see it in her actions and in her costumes as well. So her boots are actually designed to make her walk differently, which is really, really interesting. And it's not feminine. None of her costumes are feminine at all, which makes sense. They have to be practical, but she's trying, okay, the Ironborn are pretty rough to be around. Pretty damn rough. So if you're actually telling them what to do, I would assume you probably want to seem pretty strong, tall, and not exactly girly. So that is what she designed. So here she is in all her glory. And just think about it. This is all new, and they weathered it and made it look worn. That's absolutely fantastic and perfect. I really love the scene when Theon and Yara meet Daenerys. I like that scene very much. Hello, Drogon. And they speak about the marriage proposal. It's a very good scene. They have very good chemistry. Right? Okay. So, is there any request for character? Hey, everyone. I'm the Southern Mother of Dragons, obviously. We were talking about the costumes of Game of Thrones. This is the official costume book by Michele Clapton. It is listed right here. Marjorie? I like that. Happy to. Love Marjorie very much. All right. Let's see where she is. She's a bit further. By the way, if anyone wants to talk about Bran's costumes, I refuse. Okay? I'm not doing it. Here we go. Ah, the wedding gown. Let's see. I have 3 Marjorie dresses. I love Marjorie very much. We already did Sansa. That was the first one. Oh, God. Very funny bear down. Marjorie Tyrell. Marjorie Tyrell becomes a major figure in the struggle for the Iron Throne and the most prominent member of her house. The Great House of Tyrell rules over a vast swath of the southwest portion of Westeros from the family seat of Highgarden. Like the Lannisters, they're wealthy, so I ultimately opted to make their costumes from fine fabrics, all in shades of blue. The Tyrell blue is a clear, clean blue that appears almost like a blue wash. That thin celestial color features in many of the costumes I designed for Marjorie and each member of her family. Mace Tyrell, her father and the head of the house, Mace's mother and Marjorie's grandmother, Lady Olenna, who we love, and her brother Loras. Marjorie has grown up at Highgarden desiring nothing more than to become queen. The queen. Her storyline provided ample opportunity to create lavish costumes of varying designs. She's a wealthy, stylish young woman who's always mindful of her appearance. She uses her wardrobe to advance her aims, revealing her body when she wants to be seductive or choosing more modest looks when they suit her political aims. One of my favorite looks for Marjorie is one of her first. It's the funnel dress I designed for her, which was inspired by a gown that Alexander McQueen created for Bjork in 2004. The dress has a wide open neckline and is made from a heavy silk, featuring a bold geometric pattern with a cotton backing. I had to use a strong structured fabric with boning to help create the shape. I finished the costume with military-inspired embroidery around the armhole. I wanted the dress to express the ambitions of a young girl who is not yet sure of her strengths. It is extravagant and almost clumsy. Later, we see Cersei employ a similar shape with much more finesse and style in the gown she wears to Marjorie's wedding to Joffrey. Adopting that silhouette is Cersei's way of using costume to assert her dominance as she battles Marjorie to retain her standing in King's Landing. Tell me that's not absolutely fantastic. Marjorie shows up in this specific style dress. Later on, when Cersei wants to say, F you, she wears a similar style dress in Lannister red, which is exactly what Cersei would do. Now this, let me make sure that's the best picture, is the dress. It's the funnel dress. And it's inspired by Alexander McQueen, 2004 dress that Bjork wore. This is this scene. This is when it's Renly's camp, and Littlefinger is making remarks that the marriage hasn't likely been consummated. He's really being an asshole. He really is. And she's trying to just be curt with him, but so it's meant to be over the top because she's a Tyrell, but not exactly what we would call like one of her more stunning outfits because she's figuring out what she's doing. You know, if that makes sense. She wants to be the queen. She's with Renly. But there are others that are claiming to be queen. So even Marjorie at the beginning, as stylish as she is figuring out what she wants to wear and what she wants to project. And we love her for all of that. Okay, now we get into the more classic Marjorie, blue, roses, all that. By the way, hello. We are going over the costumes of Game of Thrones. It is pinned down here. But before Marjorie marries Joffrey, she first weds Robert's youngest brother, Renly. It's the last time she ever wears an element of green in her costume because I wanted to convey that she's leaving House Tyrell behind to move up the social ladder. Plus, I had decided that blue would become the signature Tyrell color. Their union ends when Renly is murdered under mysterious circumstances, leaving his young widow to make her way to King's Landing, where she catches Joffrey's eye. In the capital, she wears delicate, barely there dresses made from the lightest, most ethereal shades of blue paper silk, which were almost transparent. I'm sure everyone remembers the scene where Joffrey's on the throne and there's Marjorie. And I mean, that dress is cut literally to here. And, what is it? I've heard tales of your glory. And then, like, she's like trying to look innocent, but she's like deep inside me. Like, Natalie Dormer's fantastic. Because Marjorie's gowns left so much of her skin exposed, the costumes themselves were very difficult to cut. They had to look effortless, so there was a lot of hidden structure within the bodices. All of Marjorie's dresses underlined her growing rivalry with Cersei. The less Marjorie wears, the more armored Cersei becomes, dressing in bold reds and golds to emphasize her affiliation with her wealthy, influential house. Cersei recognizes that Marjorie's youth and beauty are powerful tools, and she fears that this poses a real threat to her hold over Joffrey. So Cersei fights back by wearing costumes designed to convey power and strength. So Marjorie's like, I'm going to get Joffrey's attention and everyone else's and be half naked. And Cersei's like, you bitch, let me put on some armor. I want you to die. So I think, where is she? Yes. This is usually when you see any anything of Marjorie, and I'm pretty sure her Funko Pop, has this dress on it. Usually when you think of Marjorie, you think of her in this blue. It's the outfit that she has on when she talks to Sansa and tells the story of her cousin that made fun of her and said she had a pig nose. I'm sure Chris would remember this. What did she say, her cousin? Like porridge face or something? And she's totally messing with Sansa. No, and yes, a very big chunk of my brain is dedicated to things Game of Thrones. It's fine. Okay. I have seen multiple times people on social media that have actually recreated Marjorie's wedding gown. And I will tell you, that is one of the most impressive things ever. I don't know how. That is a talent that is completely insane to me. Because her wedding gown is so detailed and has so many roses. Anyone that's ever done that, like, hat off completely. For Marjorie and Joffrey's wedding, I wanted her dress to have the same seductive qualities as her other gowns. The fabric, which had a subtle pattern of falling leaves, is the same as the one I would later use for the dark Sansa dress which everyone was very fond of, and for Sansa's coronation gown, reinforcing the bond between the two girls. So a lot of people don't know that. Like, she very much wanted to emphasize that Marjorie and Sansa did care for each other. Now, Marjorie's always going to look out for Marjorie, but she did like Sansa very much. And Sansa adored Marjorie and looked up to her. I actually wish they had more say. Hell, I wish Sansa could have gone to Highgarden, actually. Oh, and a character that wasn't included in Game of Thrones, Marjorie actually has another brother. And, well, it's kind of a long story. But he has an accident, and it involves, and that, I'll get off track. Remind me, if we decide to go into Oberyn, we'll talk about it. Because yes, Oberyn, it involves him. And God knows everyone loves him. For good reason. It's Pedro. Alright, so the train of the dress was designed to resemble a garden of roses and leaves, each of which was handmade. But if you look closely, the stems all have metal thorns. Marjorie is beautiful, but she's also dangerous. We wanted the train to ripple behind her when she walks down the steps, so we used wires to ensure the train would retain its shape as it cascades down the stairs. Over the dress, Marjorie wears a mantle that I imagine would have belonged to the Lannisters for generations. In reality, it was a vintage wool piece I had found at an antique fair long before I ever worked on Game of Thrones. I had fallen in love with it because it had such gorgeous embroidery work. I'm not even certain what the piece had initially been used for, but it was ideal for the show. We lined it and embroidered the Lannister lion on top of the existing embroidery. And this is Marjorie's gown. And you can see here all the roses, all the handmade roses. I don't know how somebody could do this. Like, my God. It's absolutely beautiful. A lot of people have wanted to get married in this dress. A lot. Like, even still. It's other than Daenerys' wedding dress, I would say this is the second most popular wedding dress in Game of Thrones. Obviously, Daenerys is first. But this wedding dress, this was a big deal. I mean, it's just... And the thing is, what's so cool is from this point on, all of Marjorie's outfits, anytime there's anything Baratheon, including on her crown, there is a vine of roses wrapped around it with thorns. It's supposed to signify, it signifies, yes, it's House Baratheon, but House Tyrell has weaved itself all into it. And we may be roses, but we have thorns. It's perfect. It is absolutely perfect. It goes completely with House Tyrell, especially Marjorie and Olenna. So, I love that. Hey everyone, we're going over the costumes, Game of Thrones, official book. It's right down here. As if you didn't already appreciate it. Look at that. Now, do you see why so many brides wanted this dress? So pretty. And God, Natalie Dormer's gorgeous. Beautiful dress, and she made it even more beautiful. Alright, so now we go to post-purple wedding, where she is in mourning. Of course, Marjorie's marriage to Joffrey is brief, and she goes almost immediately from celebrating her wedding to mourning the death of her husband. She's not particularly sad about Joffrey's passing, though, as she had come to realize how deeply disturbed he really was. She quickly begins to focus her attentions on his brother, yet she still chooses to wear black briefly for appearance's sake, to better play the part of the grieving widow. This mourning costume marks a slight transition in Marjorie's look. The gown is made from a jacquard silk with a structured sleeveless bodice and a very full skirt. Because the fabric is fine, it provided a lot of fullness at the hips without becoming bulky, which created a beautiful looking silhouette. As Marjorie moves, the dress billows along with her. Although some of her upper body is exposed, I gave her a black wrap to cover her arms and shoulders because I wanted her to appear to be a bit more demure, very demure. She needs to seem like she's profoundly saddened by Joffrey's death, and she's mindful of how to best appeal to Tommen. I think if she looked too overly sexual, that might intimidate him, which makes complete sense. She needs to look like she's mourning. She doesn't need to be too exposed, just enough to get Tommen's attention. So, and I have a version of this dress. So see, it shows a little, not a lot. This is very covered for Marjorie actually, and beautiful. Just enough to let Tommen know what's there, but you know, not too much to where it's like he's terrified. God love him. So Marjorie soon becomes betrothed to Tommen, and for their wedding, I wanted to design a substantial dress that suggests she is truly ready to challenge Cersei for control of King's Landing. This is her third wedding, by the way. Her first wedding gown was aggressive and very sexual and implied that she needed to overpower Joffrey. It was also designed to appeal to the brutish monarch. Her dress for her marriage to Tommen is more formal and much more traditionally regal. It reflects the rather honorable boy that Tommen is, and it establishes that Marjorie has fully arrived. She no longer needs to use her body to try to attain status. She's ready to fully assert her right to the throne. I designed a gold sleeveless gown that is almost Elizabethan, yet it doesn't fit within the dictates of any one historical period. I asked the armory department to create a metal pattern out of brass that we could apply directly to the fabric I had found. The metallic bodice had to be molded and bent to the shape of the body. It was a rigid dress to put on because we didn't want it to bend when she kneeled or curtsied. I added a deep pleat on the hips to give it width. The necklace works almost as an extension of the dress. It was cut in the same pattern as the bodice. Her gold crown with roses entwined around the Baratheon antlers is the same she wore for her wedding to Joffrey. This gown is the culmination of Marjorie's look. She's at the height of her power, though, like so many others before her, she's ultimately fatally outmatched by Cersei. So, this is her dress when she marries Tommen. And that's the necklace that is meant to look like the bodice, which it does. Very pretty. Very beautiful. Cersei still won. And I've got her crown over there. It's really pretty. All right. Does anyone have any requests? If not, I will go to Missandei. Let me know. Any character. Except for Bran or Hodor or Rickon. Like something serious. Like a character I'd actually want to talk about. Alright. Going once. Twice. And I go to Missandei now. I have not... You know what? I love you. Sometimes you're such a shit. And no, I wouldn't change it at all. I'm making this pretty. Theon is taken prisoner by Ramsay later in the storyline and subjected to horrific tortures that fundamentally change his character. To humiliate Theon, Ramsay renames him Reek and dresses him in the same manner as the rest of the servants in Winterfell. He wears a long apron-shaped tunic made from layers of ragged linen. His finery and his nobility are stripped away entirely. But during Ramsay's wedding to Sansa, Theon is dressed in an outfit that gives a slight nod to his former status. Theon wears somber tones of gray and black with a silhouette that is very traditionally Stark. He's also wearing brocade, which is a callback to Catelyn Stark's influence. But Theon's fabric doublet is shorter than it should be. The fact that it's slightly ill-fitting makes him appear more... The poor tailoring indicates his low status. So here's Reek's fucking outfit, just for you. Huh? Did you think it wasn't in here? Because it is. There you go. Reek. Rhymes with... Alright. Now, I do know that a lot of people are critical of the Dornish plot, but I will say the Dornish costumes are beautiful. Alright. Missandei. Hello, everyone. I am the Southern Mother of Dragons. We are talking about the costumes of Game of Thrones. This is the official costume book by Michele Clapton. It is pinned below. Welcome. We were just talking about Reek. Now we're about to talk about Missandei, which is much more upbeat until the end. Missandei was born on an island called Noth, but spent much of her early life in the city of Astapor, serving as an interpreter for a wealthy lord who kept her enslaved. At the beginning of her story, Missandei is forced by her masters to wear revealing costumes, but once freed, she evolves into a well-dressed, confident woman whose innate wisdom and kindness prove instructive to Daenerys. In the end, however, Missandei pays the ultimate price for her loyalty to her queen. I designed Missandei's first costume around the leather collar she's forced to wear as a slave. Her dress was made by hand-stitching rows of gold and sand-colored silk together, and then attaching the fabric to the iron ring of the collar, the slave collar. A great deal of her skin is exposed, a style that's in keeping with the fashions of Astapor, but it also serves as a reminder of her lowly status. Missandei's body is on display at the behest of her masters. She has no choice in what she wears. Now, actually, there's only a concept drawing of this outfit, so I'm going to pull it up because I really want you to understand this. I really want you to understand how it's very obvious that she is completely controlled. Here it is. This is how we first see Missandei. She has the slave collar on, and her dress literally looks like two pieces of fabric just held together by literally like a ring down here. Okay? That's how we first see her. Like, she has no identity. It's been completely stripped away from her. Like, I don't know if you recall, but they don't even think of themselves as people. They literally say, this one's name is Missandei. Not my name. This one is called Missandei. The same goes for the Unsullied. Alright, so once Daenerys grants Missandei her freedom, the former slave leaves behind her days as a meek servant and starts to express herself through her costumes. Missandei adopts a style heavily influenced by Daenerys. They complement each other, wearing gowns of a similar silhouette that reinforce their bond. I designed a pale blue sand-washed silk dress with a halter neckline from Missandei, which she wears with multicolored woven flats. I paired the gown with a metal belt because I like the contrast of the strong metal holding together the soft flowing fabric. I wanted to convey the idea that Missandei is a character with a steely core. So like Cersei with her armor, Missandei, who seems very sweet and meek, don't forget, she's also badass. And this is the first outfit we see Missandei wear that she had anything to do with. Anything. Now, my headcanon, which, come on, it's obviously correct, is that when this was made, Daenerys has a matching dress. But when this was made, I know without a doubt, she asked for Missandei's input. Likely, what color would you like? Do you like the belt? And this would be the first outfit she ever wore that she wanted to put on since she was a child and she was abducted as a slave. And that is why I am reading this to you, because it's a lot. It seems just like a dress. It's not. This is the first dress she wears when her slave collar's taken off. Can't talk about it too much or I'll cry. I love Missandei. I kept Missandei in costumes that correspond to Daenerys's as the women travel together to Meereen. When Missandei accompanies the queen to the city's fighting pits, I dressed her in a gown with a blue leather top and a silk sunray pleated skirt in the same style that Daenerys wears. The leather indicates that Missandei is beginning to adopt a more armored look, but the gentle fabric of the skirt and the revealing cut of the costume suggest that she is still quite vulnerable. I love the finesse of the pleated skirt and silk, the impossibility of it. If it gets wet or it's exposed to any wear or extreme temperatures, the pleats fall out. But when you see the silk pleated, it lends an ethereal quality to a costume. And this is her more armored look. Still beautiful, but obviously a bit more badass. We love it. Yet again, I would like to state, second outfit that Missandei ever had any choice in wearing. Justice for Missandei. Oh, I should have brought it over. I may, if anyone cares, I might pull it up. May of London, who I've also been lucky enough to work with, created the jewelry, most iconic jewelry in Game of Thrones. And there were actually rings made that Grey Worm has and Tyrion has that Daenerys gave them. I might pull that up and show you. But, which I wish it was like, I wish there had been a scene of that. But once I get past Missandei, I'm gonna pull that and show you, because a lot of people don't know that fact. All right. After the attempt on Daenerys' life, Missandei abandons the brighter shades of blue and moves into darker costumes that are designed to signify her increasing closeness with Grey Worm, the commander of the Unsullied. She wears a blue-black leather bodice with a shorter skirt that shows more of her boots and takes her costume in a more assertive direction. When she arrives in the north, and the people at Winterfell are horribly rude and stare, which I bring up a lot, and will continue to bring up. Missandei no longer dresses in gowns. Instead, she wears a long lined coat with prominent shoulders over a laced bodice and a crossover leather belt paired with leather trousers. She's dressed for the colder climates of the north, but I also wanted her to wear the same shades of gray and black I used for Daenerys and Grey Worm's costumes to reinforce her deep connection to both characters. I need you to understand. Daenerys and Missandei and Grey Worm, they're the only ones whose costumes have something to do with each other to show how connected they are. That's it. Marjorie's got handmaids, and yes, they have similar dresses on, but that's it. It's because they're her handmaids. Cersei damn sure doesn't match anyone except that one handmaid she has at the end that I really think she only dressed her like that just so she wouldn't look completely different with long hair. But anyway, Daenerys is just better. Missandei is just better. And Grey Worm is just better. Hello, how are you? I'm the Southern Mother of Dragons. This is the costume book from Game of Thrones. It's right down here. All right, so this is Missandei. Thank you, Hunt. This is Missandei after the Sons of the Harpy make the attempt on Daenerys' life. Missandei has this outfit on in the scene. Like, I can literally see the entire thing play out in my head. My reign has just begun. This is why going over a costume book with me is better than anyone else. All right, here. Oh, good. Wonderful. Okay. May of London made this beautiful wristlet. It's the 3 heads of the dragon in silver, and it wraps around. They got one out of the archives to give me. It's over there. I'm staring at it. Okay. They created the same metal 3 heads of the dragon circle for Missandei to go on. She has like a leather piece that crosses over. It's the same. So Daenerys' bracelet matches Missandei's pendant. That's what I wanted to show you, and I'm so glad there's a close-up. Okay, so this is Missandei in the north. Do you see? She wears a cape, just like Daenerys, and then there, that's the piece. When the season 6 finale, when Daenerys has her fleet, when you finally, because you're at Drogon's point of view, when you get to Daenerys, that's the scene where you can see this as a bracelet. Same piece. And it's absolutely astounding. Like, the fact that I have one, I'll never get over that. Ever. Never in my life. I love TikTok, and I never thought that I would have a chance to do the things that I've done. Never in a million years. If you told me, I would have told you that's bullshit. Complete bullshit. I would not have believed you at all. Now, what a lot of people like to comment on is the fact that Missandei matches Daenerys so much, and a lot of people talk about the fact that their outfits were probably made at the same time, which again reinforces that Daenerys doesn't think herself above everyone. Or why would she have Missandei the same quality gowns? Anyway, what I would like to point out though, that this outfit of Missandei's is very gray, and it's got leather. It matches Grey Worm's outfit, which, look right there, that's the same piece by May of London. It's in his armor. Tell me that's not amazing. Right there. Tell me that's not amazing. Nobody would notice. Nobody but me. But there it is. Absolutely beautiful. 3 heads of the dragon pendant. Okay. Since there's only a little bit about Grey Worm, and that's so connected, I'm going to read this. Hello, by the way. I'm the Southern Mother Dragons. We're talking about the costumes of Game of Thrones. Here's the book that we're looking at. And it's a lot of people paid $75 for it, but it's here on TikTok Shop for $38, which is a steal. Come on. Grey Worm. A native of the warm summer islands, Grey Worm was forcibly conscripted at a young age into the ranks of the Unsullied, an army of warrior eunuchs, stripped of their individuality and trained to be unbeatable in combat. After Daenerys frees the enslaved troops from their masters in the city of Astapor, Grey Worm is chosen to serve as their leader and is unfailingly loyal to his new queen. The Unsullied costume took time to develop because I had to design something that would create a uniform look when worn by dozens of actors, all of whom had very different builds. Because we wanted the soldiers to have broad chests and narrow waists, I created a sturdy leather doublet decorated with studs across the breast, which wrapped around the actors' bodies and then was laced tightly and buckled into place. We attached molded leather pauldrons onto the doublets to broaden the shoulders even further and achieve the strong silhouette we desired. I likened the uniforms to the exoskeletons of insects, which help protect the creatures from harm, and the iridescent blue-black color of the costumes was inspired by beetles. In his books, George R.R. Martin describes the Unsullied as having spikes on the top of their helmets. I kept that detail. Did you hear that? Michele Clapton, the genius that created the costumes for Game of Thrones, was very aware of what the characters wore in the books because she cares about source material. If you know, you know. I kept that detail, designing helms that reference Indian armor from the 16th to 18th centuries. I also gave the helmets plates to obscure the warriors' faces, which I felt made them appear more sinister and reinforce the idea of their anonymity. That was difficult for almost 10 o'clock at night. I imagined that when Daenerys voyages to Westeros, she would commission new elements for the Unsullied's uniform, including Grey Worms. She loves and respects her troops, and she would want them to be prepared for the cold climate. I gave them heavy quilted linen tunics, trousers studded with metal, and boots, all in shades of charcoal gray. Grey Worm also wears the Dragon Allegiance pin, and remains devoted to his queen even when she rains down fire upon King's Landing. He continues to lead the Unsullied to the end. That is why I love what I do. And I fucking love this book. And I could talk about this for days. Find me somebody else that gets this excited. They don't exist. All right. So, who wants me to talk about Daenerys? Or do you want me to do that another night? I am here to serve. Or I can talk about early Daenerys. There's a lot of pages of Daenerys. I've read all of them 800 times. Golden, you want to hear? Of course, this is where I have the page marker. It's not really surprising. All right. Okay. Goes on for quite some time. We'll see. As long as my voice holds out, we'll be fine. Hello. I'm the Southern Mother of Dragons. we were talking about the costumes of Game of Thrones that are in this book. The official costume book by Michele Clapton. Right here. For literally half the price I paid for it. I don't have any regrets. Thank you, Dawn. Daenerys Targaryen. Daenerys' dramatic evolution from powerless outcast to fearsome tyrant, which, I mean, is one of the most radical transformations in all of Game of Thrones, and I knew it was vitally important for her costumes to signal each stage of her journey. When we first meet Daenerys, she's a beautiful young girl who is completely under the control of her abusive older brother. It's nearly impossible to imagine the woman she will become. Viserys wants to marry her to anyone who might help him take the Iron Throne. In his eyes, her only value is her body, and he dresses her accordingly. I based Daenerys' first dress on a style I created for King's Landing that would be worn by all manner of characters, from market traders to handmaidens and prostitutes. And I would like to point out something that I very much appreciate. So Michele Clapton designed a dress that would be seen throughout King's Landing. You can dress it up if you have money, put a belt around it and have additional fabric, or it can be very plain if, you know, you're not as wealthy. It is literally like jeans and a t-shirt. It's what everyone has, okay? What made me very happy is that in A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, she's red first, and then we later see her get married to a Fossaway. Her outfit is very similar to the King's Landing dress Michele Clapton designed. It's different enough that the costume designer did her own thing, but the same silhouette is there and the same ability to dress it up or down, and I appreciated that so much. So much. You can ask Chris. I was very excited. The continuity was not missed with me, and I thought it was absolutely just, I loved it. All right. I digress. Okay. So, the costume is a tube of fabric gathered onto a rope of either heavy silk or cotton, with a weighted disc at the back of the waist to secure it in place. Depending on the social stature of the person wearing it, the costume would be made from either beautiful silks or simple cotton, and could be draped in different ways to further denote status. See what I'm saying? I imagine that Viserys would have commissioned Daenerys' gown based on his memory of seeing a similar garment in the capital when he was much younger. Daenerys' second dress is a completely transparent and held at the shoulder with dragon head brooches to represent House Targaryen. This viewing dress was designed to make her appear essentially naked. She's a commodity being offered to the Dothraki warlord Khal Drogo in exchange for his armies. Okay, 2 dresses. Number 1 is the pink dress. The first time we see Daenerys, this is what she has on. This is the King's Landing dress. Shae, later on, wears a dress almost identical to this. And it's really cool that she had the forethought to think, well, Viserys probably would have remembered and had it made so that she looks like she's from King's Landing. Which would probably be more interesting to a Khal. Second, this is the viewing dress. This is when she first sees, I can't really say meets, when she first sees Drogo. And he's on his horse. And basically looks and leaves because he's like, yeah. So it's ethereal, it's beautiful, love it. Actually, when we first see Daenerys, before she takes the bath, you hear Viserys calling for Daenerys, Daenerys. And he's showing her the fabric that this viewing dress will be made out of. He's like, feel the fabric. And then he's creepy. So we actually see the fabric before the dress is made. Find somebody else that's going to remember that. Now, the wedding dress, which is one of the dresses I was privileged enough to view in a room. Just me and dress. And I felt lightheaded. When I tell you the fabric looked so beautiful and delicate, I was afraid to touch it, and I had gloves on. It was the most beautiful dress I've ever seen in my life. Like, as pretty as it looks on screen, you just can't imagine. It had a subtle shine to it. And just, it was so delicate. It was just stunning. And I'll tell you something that was really fun. So Heritage Auctions, God love them, brought 4 outfits for me to look at for costumes. And one of the people in the department brought them in, and obviously they're in this very nice garment bag. And he unzips it and takes it out, and there's the mannequin, the dress form. And he starts to put the dress on, and it has a piece here and here, long piece of fabric. And he looked at me and he goes, I don't know which way this goes. And I was like, I do. So I got to go over and go, okay, it's meant to look like a gift. It's meant to be unwrapped like a present. So take that piece and cross it over, and take that piece and cross it over, and then it's going to tie in the back. And so I got to, I mean, that's one of the moments. I'll tell you, if I'm having a bad day, that's in the Rolodex of things that make me feel cool. That. I know. It was a very fun day, okay? Drogo is a man with tremendous capacity for violence. He later kills Viserys by pouring molten gold over him. But he also comes to show Daenerys a great deal of respect and kindness. For their wedding, I designed a gown made from pale silver gray metallic fabric with silver dragon accents near the breast and on the armbands. I wanted the dress to be the color of the moon because Drogo comes to call Daenerys Moon of My Life. The gown was meant to unwrap when removed, as though Drogo is opening a gift. And that is what I got to explain to the man that pulled the dress out so I could take pictures of it and video it. It is pinned on my fucking profile and will always be. I just need a minute. All right, I'm okay. Seriously. Look, everybody's got their thing. Some people want to see the Statue of Liberty, the Eiffel Tower. I wanted to see Daenerys' wedding dress. It's totally fine. So, yeah, seriously. And there we go. Unwrapped like a gift. Look how pretty. We're so lucky to have Emilia Clarke. We're so lucky. Like, no one could have done as well as she. No one. Like, literally no one. Like, I absolutely love when a character doesn't have to be tall and threatening looking to be fierce. And Emilia Clarke is 5'2", and I love seeing her go from this terrified, I just want to go home, to my reign has just begun. She did us such a wonderful service. She really did. like, I don't know. Like, there are so many, like, everybody's so excited about Visenya. Oh, Visenya's a badass. And then it's like, ooh, Rhaenyra's gonna channel Visenya and wear armor and have a sword. Okay, fine. Try to intimidate somebody when you're 5'2" and very feminine. Because that's what I am. And that's what Emilia Clarke did. So she's my hero. It's not hard to intimidate somebody when you're 5'9" or 10 or whatever, and you got armor on. Intimidate somebody when you're short as hell and, I don't know, you know, typically feminine. I mean, I'll go ahead and tell you, I'm, you know what? Shockingly, I'm not a cage fighter. I know. Thank you, Golden. That's one of my soapboxes. I love it when, that's why I root for Rhaenys. When I'm talking about, like, that's why I cosplay Rhaenys when I'm talking about Aegon's conquest. You can be a badass bitch and not be Brienne of Tarth. You could be a badass bitch and not have the jawline that everybody talks about for Rhaenyra. I'm not saying I couldn't be a cage fighter if I was angry enough. I'd just be rabid. Anyway, hello. Welcome. I'm the Southern Mother of Dragons. We are discussing the costumes of Game of Thrones. And, you know, whatever else goes through my brain. It's right down here for $38. About half of what some people paid for it. Alright. Daenerys steps into Dothraki society and begins to embrace her new role as Khaleesi, which roughly translates to queen. She starts off with a fairly basic Dothraki costume made from brown leather and suede. I gave her a braided halter top and a drop waist wrap skirt worn over leather trousers and boots. Her costume had to be practical because she's traveling great distances. Daenerys eventually buys what looks like a dragon skin top from a market in the city of Vaes Dothrak. It's the first time we see her attempting to create her own look while remaining true to Dothraki style. I also added subtle blue accents to her costumes to symbolize her profound love for Drogo. Let me stop you there for a second. Michele Clapton decided, when you first see Drogo, he has blue paint. Blue is in the show, a very important color to the Dothraki. It's very rare, and it's like, it signifies like gold would be, you know, like, it's like, oh, so blue is very special to the Dothraki. That was kept, not explained very much. That's why Daenerys wears blue so often until she leaves Essos. It's for Drogo and the Dothraki that she loves very much. That's why I have this on. So people wonder why so many of Daenerys' outfits were blue. That's why. She still loved Drogo. And she still respected the Dothraki. Again, who's going to tell you this kind of stuff? When Drogo is fatally wounded in battle, the course of Daenerys' life changes dramatically. Heartbroken, she builds her husband a funeral pyre and enters the flames to sit beside his body, wearing her wedding gown and clutching 3 fossilized dragon eggs. Miraculously, she emerges unharmed, but her dress has been consumed by the fire. The old Daenerys, the woman victimized by her brother and whose fate was controlled by men, has been burned away. She is reborn from the ashes as the proud mother of 3 hatchling dragons. As her connection to them grows stronger, I included more prominent dragon motifs in her costumes. So, this is the very well-known Dothraki outfit that Daenerys wears. Next, we get to this one. You know what? Actually, let me show you something really quick. So every once in a while in this book, they'll talk about a costume and not show it, which I understand. Like, if they showed every single Daenerys costume, she would need her own book, which I wish they would have done that. That would have been great. But let me show you. The very first costume she wears that has any dragon scale on it. Most people forget this. It's actually this, which I have a version of. The top looks like dragon scale, and then it has like a blue apron in the front. Most people forget this, but there it is. Just thought you might want to see that. It's pretty cool. For whatever reason, I guess because it's only shown a few times, people forget, but this is the first time she wears dragon scale. It's pretty cool. Yeah, golden. Just kind of a little reminder. Let me see if there's one. I was hoping to kind of get the skirt too. Here we go. Yeah. So it's like a gold dragon scale, and then there's a blue like apron in front. It's pretty cool. So do you see like the Targaryen on the top, Dothraki on the bottom? You see? Blue, but then you have the dragon scale. It's pretty cool. Little random tidbits. All right. Hopefully, are you guys having fun? You do? You like it? It's not seen very much. It's actually beautiful. Oh, here we go. Here we go. There, you can see all of it there. It's actually her maternity wear. See? Pretty cool. So it's just, I don't know, people usually don't remember that or forget or whatever, so I kind of like to point that out. And I'm kind of like, I don't know, I'm kind of happy that like as I read this, like I'm like, oh, that's, I mean, I've been doing this for years, so if I didn't know that stuff, I shouldn't be doing this, but I do, so it's fine. All right, hold on. All right. Now this, everyone that dresses up like Daenerys, it's Blue, Astapor, Dothraki, and Karth. Like, so many people have versions of her dressing Karth. It is iconic. It is absolutely iconic. There are other women in Karth that have the same dress but in different colors, and those were at the auction. And when I tell you, so beautiful. The fabric is absolutely beautiful. It's actual metal on the shoulders and the belt, and you don't get to see it really in the show, but there's a picture here of her shoes she wears in Karth that I find very interesting. Seeking shelter for her small group of followers, Daenerys journeys to Karth. Though she's resolved to take back the Iron Throne, she knows that she will need to amass an army before attempting to stage a coup. When she first arrives in the walled city, Daenerys is won over by the Karthine style. She wears a turquoise dress made from pleated paper silk with a wide metal filigree belt. As most people know this dress. And those are the shoes. Yeah, golden. Let me just tell you. Okay, I'll put it this way. They sold the Karth dresses that the extras wore at the auction. And if I could have, I would have had one. I don't. Does that tell you anything? Huh? Right. But anyway, look at those shoes. Isn't that cool? I just find that interesting because you don't really get to see Daenerys' shoes very often. Pretty much after this, which I don't know if it's mentioned here or not, but she wears boots even under her dresses. Like this outfit, she wears boots because for the rest of the series, Daenerys, even when you think she looks super flowy and feminine, she still has boots on because number one, you never know when you got to kick somebody's ass. And number two, you never know when you got to jump on your dragon. It's just best to be prepared. Hey Phoenix, how are you? We are talking about the costumes of Game of Thrones in this book by Michele Clapton. Yeah, Golden, I thought you'd appreciate that. Always boots. All right. Now, let me see if it mentions this, because if it doesn't... Yes, okay. All right, so that's the classic Qarth dress. That's all Qarth. The rest of the time she's in Qarth, she is starting to see through the bullshit, basically. So after she goes to that garden party wearing that dress, she starts to question things, and then you have, you know, the damn Spice King asshole. I am not your little princess. Okay? Right? Like, she tries to talk to him. I'm not a normal woman. My dreams come true. Right? And they treat her like she's just this little, oh yeah, no, I'm not giving you any ships. Like, they're assholes. So, she doesn't wear that dress again. And what she starts wearing, which is very interesting, she puts her Dothraki skirt back on. And actually, the pink and blue that I'm about to show you, they're actually Qarthine male shirts, like for men. Because I am not your little princess. So after they start treating her like, she starts wearing a shirt that is for a Qarthine male, which they're very ambiguous. So it does look like she has on a female's outfit. But I just wanted to tell you they're actually men's. And then she actually puts armor on over. She has a gold set, and then she has a leather set, which was very difficult for me to get both of those. I had to have a woman make the... Can you imagine having a conversation with somebody that works with leather and explaining that? Hello. Hi. Here's a picture. Could you make this? Could you make this leather kind of sort of armor, kind of sort of funny shape? By the way, yeah, it's fine. I have to. She had a good time doing it. She enjoyed it very much. All right. So this is the outfit. See, Dothraki skirt, Qarthine male shirt, and here's the beautiful gold armor. And then see, it has that it actually curves out right there. So and there it is on. It's really pretty. So this is her, like, again, the costumes tell the story. She wants them to take her seriously, but she doesn't feel safe. She's not going to wear the flowy dress that Zara gave her because it's like, okay, well, looks like everybody here is going to treat me like an idiot, so I'm going to put on some armor. All right. As soon as Daenerys realizes that the power in the city rests with its men, however, she changes her style. I wanted to show that she's experimenting with different looks to find one that projects the right kind of authority. First, she wears a gold filigree corset over her Dothraki costume. Then she pairs a brown leather corset with a lavender Qarthine man's top and her Dothraki skirts. Finally, we see her in the same gold corset with a pale blue Carthene man's coat edged with metallic scales, paired with her practical Dothraki leather trousers. She begins to dress like a ruler. So she's mix and matching, like, I'm just gonna wear that skirt. Give me that, and that's gonna make me look like a badass. And give me my boots. So, this is the leather armor that I had to send somebody a picture of and ask to make. It's really beautiful, actually. It's really cool. All right. If you don't appreciate me, you will, okay? Yep, coming into her own. Very good. Yes, Golden. From Karth, Daenerys travels to Astapor, where she liberates the enslaved soldiers known as the Unsullied, along with the young interpreter Missandei. Daenerys comes to Slaver's Bay, dressed in a blue cape and a sleeveless blue gown worn over her trousers. We added embroidery to the costume that is reminiscent of dragon scales, and I also designed a perforated copper necklace that looks like 2 dragon talons on either end of a single chain. The necklace has no clasp, so the talons act as counterweights to keep the piece balanced. I like the fact that the necklace felt slightly precarious, as though it might fall at any moment. Together, the elements of the costume project both femininity and strength. Daenerys wearing blue, the sacred color of the Dothraki, signals that Drogo remains an enormous influence in her life, which is why that's what I have on. And here it is. Hello. Still thinking of Drogo. Still thinking of dragons. Feminine, but still dangerous. Feminine and pretty, but I have dragons. And because I have this outfit on, this is where we're going to pause. Because there's a whole lot more of Daenerys outfits, and I want to take my time and go through them with you. So we're going to pause on that because it's what I have on. Seems very apropos. I hope you enjoyed this. I did a lot. This can go as long as we would like it to. I love this book. I've read it I don't know how many times. And then I would like to take my time with this so I can pause and show you things that are extra if I can, because this is an amazing book. And then through research and things, like I found some stuff out, and I do like to have a chance to be like, oh, and by the way, you know? So if you like this, I'm really glad. This is one of my, thank you. This is one of my favorite things to do because the costumes are beautiful, but the story behind them is so compelling and detailed. I truly don't think you can even appreciate half of an outfit without reading this, because so much went into every single piece. Thank you, Khaleesi. I really appreciate being here. But I will continue the series. This can be a Friday night thing. And you know, I mean, I could probably talk about this for who knows how long, a long time. But thank you. I really am glad you enjoyed this. It's a great book. I love talking about it, and I love the fact that you guys were entertained. So, now, tomorrow night is something very special. It is going to be a really, really cool live stream by my best friend, Queen Dova, who's in the chat. Most people know. we are going to talk about aliens, because aliens is her Saturday. But specifically Mars. Things that involve Mars. And I had no idea until today how many people that are associated with NASA and a lot of knowledge are no longer with us. It's actually shocking how many. And like, these people have actually come out on social media and said that, you know, hey, I don't want to off myself, blah, blah, blah. And then, so you don't want to miss that. If you follow me, you'll get a notification, hopefully, because I'll be up on panel. Rocky it is. It's insane. But, hey, Bigfoot. Bigfoot, somebody has a metal Bigfoot in their yard over there, and it's so cute because it's hiding behind a tree. But, is Jessica may be asleep, but if you follow me, you'll get a notification. It's going to be a really interesting stream. And she's also going to give updates on David, because that's gotten even more dark and twisted, which I didn't think was possible. So great stream coming for you tomorrow night. I'm very excited about it. Hopefully you follow me and you'll get a notification. When she starts her stream, I'll share it to my story too. Okay? So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed talking about the costumes. We will do this again. And everyone have a nice, safe weekend. Thank you very much to my moderators. I appreciate you so much. I know the beginning is kind of rough, but it kind of levels out, thankfully. I appreciate you so much. And thank you so much for my friends that are here that support me. I really appreciate it, and I hope you guys know that I don't thank you enough. So have a good night. I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Everyone be safe. And, you know, just remember, Daenerys would never, ever burn down King's Landing unless